and welcome to all new and returning viewers to the Herwoodian Crafter podcast. This is my 6th episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Jutta, coming to you from Tampere, Finland, and this is my podcast about knitting, yarn dyeing, spinning, and all kinds of crafting. You can find me on Ravelry as J Kurkkari and on Instagram as the Herwoodian Crafter. My private account on Instagram is jkurkkari2, but if I haven't had any personal contact with you, I probably won't accept you as a follower. But you're more than welcome to join me on the Herwoodian Crafter account. I have a Ravelry group, hooray! I've been saying that I would be starting a Ravelry group after or around the 5th episode, and now it's there. But it's still kind of a work in progress. There's only a few topics for now. I will be adding topics for all the episodes, but I still have some work to do with the show notes, so that's why they're not there yet. It's been 3 weeks since I've last recorded. I've been trying to keep up to recording every 2 weeks, but last weekend, so I should have recorded last weekend, but it was the Jyväskylä Knit Fest weekend, so I didn't have the opportunity to record. I'll tell you a little bit more about the Knit Fest and why it didn't happen last weekend, even though I was there for only 1 day. Yeah, I might also be a little bit distracted and tired because I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning. I've had less than 5 hours of sleep, and it's now 20 past 9 now that I'm recording this. Baby issues. Yeah, let's get straight into the meat. So I actually have, believe it or not, I have 3 finished objects. The first one I am wearing. I finally finished my breathing space sweater. The pattern is by Veera Välimäki. This white yarn is Filkkalan Arvetta Classic in the pure white, and then the stripes are done with hedgehog fibers, sock yarn in the colorway Ghost. I'll just back up straight off to show you how it worked out. I'm quite happy with it. Just stand a little bit closer. So I really wanted to have this kind of effect where the yarn almost blends into the main color, and I think if I would have gone with a cream white, it would have blended in completely, but you can't really see it even though it's plain white. There's a little issue with the wrap and turns with the short rows in here, but basically I don't think you can see it that well, and I'm kind of debating whether it bothers me enough to actually correct it, or whether I'm gonna say that it's a design feature. I meant to do that, but now you all know I didn't mean to do that. But there they are. But you can basically see it. It goes all the way around the same way. I thought it would be better on the back side, but it isn't. But I actually quite like how it worked out. It doesn't look that bad. You can't really see the holes, especially with the white tee underneath. So I'm really happy with that. I used 3.5mm needles. I used 3.5mm needles, just like the pattern suggested, and this is the medium size. It works out really well. And I'm wearing it because it's cold. Finnish summer is pretty, but I'm not always that warm, so I'm wearing woolly socks and a woolly sweater. It's the 15th of July. It's supposed to be summer. It's supposed to be too warm to wear woolly shirts, but it's not. Then I also finished the Tour de Sock warm-up socks. The name is Priha. Really pretty. So there are all ends are woven in, soaked and blocked. Yes, I do have the other sock too. With these I have Cascade Heritage yarn. I used Cascade Heritage yarn with these, 2.5mm needles, and yeah, I'm really happy with the fabric I got. Haven't worn these yet, other than just to try them on that they fit. But yeah, I finished those and I'm really happy about it, obviously. And then yes, last night I finished Rose City Rollers, which I started after I recorded last. I'm not as happy with these. These are a little bit floppy. I tried magic looping, which I know I said in the, I think it was first or second episode, that I said that I don't do magic loop. I did. I was trying that for Tour de Sock because I feel like it might be an advantage not to have to knit the other sock after you knit the first sock. I'm not sure if I'm faster with this. Didn't feel faster, but there you go. These are a little bit floppy, so next time the next pattern I'll be doing with magic loop, I probably will go down a needle size. I use 2.5 with these as well, so I will probably have to go down to 2.25s. They fit. They're a little bit loose. I like a little more tight fitting socks, but they're just home socks, so who cares. Yeah, and this is my own hand dyed yarn. It's the first pair that I'm knit using my own hand dyed yarn. I'm still a little bit worried that since this is a green I mixed up myself, so I feel like the yellow might be fading a little bit, so I'll still have to keep my eye on this. It's not as bad as with the other yellow, so it does stay green, but it tends to go a little bit of a colder green than it's been. So basically, this part, actually I think that around here, has been knit up a lot later than the cuff, so you can see a little bit of the fade effect here. This is how it looked. I think how it looked while it was freshly knit up. So I'll have to keep my eye out on these as well about the fading. But yay! I've been trying to clear my needles for the Tour de Sock, which starts today at the pattern is released. The first sock pattern is released around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I still have some time. I wanted to record beforehand, and now I'm doing it. Hooray! Then work in progress. These you haven't seen yet because I've started them after I recorded last. I showed you the yarn, the rainbow yarn that I dyed up, and I've cast on the Hohi Locatelli's ley lines pattern. So I've started with the green yarn, and now this is where I started to fade. When I had less than 10 grams left of the skein, I started to stripe it. It's quite a drastic difference, but I'm happy that the green still kind of shows through. So it's not that big of a difference, but the yellow kind of starts quite abruptly. But yeah, so one skein down, the next skein is going. I'm using, so yeah, this is my hand dyed yarn. This is 75 wool, 25 polyamide, fingering weight yarn, and I'm using these are the 4mm needles. I think the pattern suggested 4mm needles or 4.5. I'm using 4 because that's what I had, and I have a little bit more of the yarn that was in the pattern, so it doesn't. It's actually a good thing if it's kind of denser. Yeah, that's that. Then of course I had to buy some yarn. Of course I had to. They were twisting my arm. I had to buy more yarn at the Jyväskylä trip. How sad. But yeah, I bought some linen yarn. I mentioned it in one episode that I was kind of wanting to try linen yarn and knitting some kind of summery shirts or tops, and now I get to do that. I bought Garn Lino, which is 100% linen yarn. And the pattern I chose was Isabel Kramer's Edie pattern. But since I can't do anything, I can't let myself off easy. The pattern is a one color pattern, but for whatever reason I wanted to make a 2-color top. So basically it's a V neckline pattern, shirt. I wanted to use this kind of quite lovely mustardy goldy kind of yarn as a main color, and then use black as an additional color. And someone might guess that this has something to do with Katie's from Inside Number 23's Harry Potter cowl. And since the pattern is called Edie, I hope I said that. If I didn't, yeah, this is the Edie pattern. I know I said it from Isabel Kramer, but the pattern is called Edie, and this is my Hufflepuff. This is my Hufflepuff called Edie project. So I decided that it would look nice to have the sleeves made of black, and then there's some kind of texture stripes in the hem, and I thought that I would do the texture stripes with the black as well, and I'm really hoping that this is enough yarn for it. If not, I will have to figure something a bit more creative. I have four skeins, so 200 grams of the mustardy gold color, and then two skeins, so 100 grams of the black. So I'm hoping that will be enough. Yarn start here, and I'm doing this as a kind of, I think it's intarsia. So basically I have I have 5 skeins in play right now, and the yarn management or the keeping them untangled is kind of driving me nuts at the moment. But I'm really liking how it's looking, so I will probably just grin and bear it. The needles are 3mm things, and that's about all I have to say about that for now. Those are the active whips at the moment. So we'll go straight into what I've been dyeing. In the vein of not letting myself off easy, I decided that I want to try and use my own hand-dyed yarn for Tour de Sock all through it if I can. I did some maths, and I should be fine with 7 skeins of yarn. And let's see what I've come up with. they're still in bags. I hope the crinkling won't be too distracting, but personally I don't mind the crinkling sounds when I'm listening to podcasts, so hopefully it will be okay. Let's go with the semi-solids at first. It's a little bit more bright on screen than it is in my hand, but this is a lovely kind of, a little bit, it's not as turquoise, it's not as deep of a blue, but blue. When I did this, I think this is quite lovely, kind of a dusty, this is actually kind of a good representation on screen. It's really kind of a dusty light pink. I really like this one. Surprisingly, I don't usually like pinks that much, but this was a lovely one. Then this is a bit more variegated. I'll show this one, and then I will show the yellow one at the same time. But these two have a little bit of a story behind this one as well. I started with a green and a yellow. So this was basically this kind of a color, and then I had a skein that was this kind of a color. I had an idea of using coffee to kind of make it a bit more variegated, to get a second color to the skein. With this, I kind of had forest, or even Lord of the Rings Fangorn forest as an inspiration, and with this colorway, I thought about kind of a chocolatey banana split. In Finland there is this ice cream called Bruno, which is banana chocolate ice cream, which is one of my favorites. So I took these two and dipped them in a coffee dye pot, whatever it's called. But this green one turned out okay. I thought I might get a little bit of a more kind of a stronger brown. It didn't work out that way, but this is still quite lovely. I'm quite happy that actually that the change isn't that kind of sharp, because it's easier to use this into the sock than it would be if it was a wildly variegated one. This one I was happy with. With the green one, with the yellow one, I wasn't that happy. It didn't work out. The coffee kind of looked sickly green on the yellow, so I wasn't really happy with that. So I overdyed it once more, and this is a lot better. It's kind of a now it's a little bit more of a brown. I overdyed it with orange dye, and it looks a bit more mustardy on camera than it does in my hand. Then again, it's a cloudy day outside, so it might be that my eyes are tricking me and the representation on screen is better with this. But this is okay. I'm not hating this. And then I dyed the yellow yarn again, because I really liked how the yellow yarn was to start with. That is a little bit more bright than it is in my hand. There's a little bit of black in there, so it's not a very bright yellow, it's more of a muted yellow, which I like. Then I have two more skeins that I've dyed up. These are, I'm actually quite happy about. Bit in the same vein, I tried different things with these, but I'm happy with the end result. First one is this. This will be more of a self-striping. I tried to make a little bit of a gradient type. Didn't work out as I thought. This is actually quite nice. So basically I did this end to the right part first. I thought I would have more of a purple kind of color, but I didn't. So this one, and then yeah, it's a little gradient. It's not a clear gradient. It will be more of a striped color, but I like it. It looks fun. I'm excited to see how this turns out knit up. Let's get this back on the skein, just a minute. And skeined up it looks really nice, I think. Yeah, it was fun. And then the last one I'm really happy with. Look at this! And for some reason I keep thinking that this would be amazing if I had some yarn that had stellina in it. I'm really not a glittery type of person. I don't like bling that much, but for some reason I think this would work really well with silver or gold stellina in it. I'm so happy about this. And I'm not pink, as I've said, I'm not a pink person. I have quite a few skeins with pink in it, so I'm not sure what's going on, but it's a little bit more purple than it's coming out on screen. It has clear bluer sections in it. The red dye was doing something really weird, but it's kind of a bit more purple than it's coming out. But I'm so happy with this. Yeah, that's what I've been dyeing up. I have one grey skein of that yarn. I haven't dyed it myself. It's the store-bought kind of a grey, just in case. So I have just a little bit more of the wiggle room with the colorways that the pattern will suggest. I think that I will start to the sock with this one, because what they've said, that will be the first pattern that you can use any type of yarn with this, and since there will be some that kind of that recommend using more solid kind of a color, so I will save those for later. But I think that I will have to see, of course, what the pattern is, but I think one of these will be the ones that I start with. I'm leaning towards this, but I will have to see what the pattern is, which one will work better. Yes. There's no sewing content. I haven't done anything in regards to that, but there is a new section called Spin City, because I went at the US Gonna Knit Fest. I took a class in drop spindle with drop spindle, so I have my first ever hand spun, and I think it's quite cute. It's silly, but during the class I felt kind of like everyone else was better at it than me, but I think it's just more of a question of everybody else being more patient than me, because everybody else seemed to be getting a thinner yarn than I did. But this is a cute little fat mealworm, and I'm still really happy with it. I will probably never knit with this. Maybe a test knit. Now I forget the word. what is it? When you make a swatch. Thank you. Less than 5 hours of sleep, I tell you. But I might knit this into a gauge swatch. Then again, I've been spinning after the class, and it's already thinner, so I don't know what I would need a gauge swatch with this. But I think it's quite cute. It's really kind of thick and thin, as it's supposed to be the first time you do it. And still, for first try, this I'm happy with this. And as I said, we got a little bit of wool to take home. This is what I have left of that. And I have been trying to spin a little bit every day. This is what I've come up with. It's already a lot thinner than what's on the little skein. Basically, I think that it's only, with me, the main issue is, first off, spreading the wool thin enough, trusting that it won't drop. Even if it does, so what? You can add, it doesn't harm anything. And just being patient enough. I was probably too kind of excited to try my hand at spinning to get the one ply of yarn thin enough, or thin enough. There's no standard to having how thin the yarn should be. But this is already a lot thinner. I'm probably gonna apply this one too, or I'm sure I'm gonna apply it. I should empty this spindle. It's starting to get a bit wobbly, so I'll probably take a toilet paper roll, empty toilet paper roll, and kind of empty this one on that, and start again with that. But of course, since I learned a new skill, even though it's a bit wobbly still, of course I had to buy I went to pie. Of course I had to buy some fiber to take home with me. The teacher was Tuulia Salmela, who is the dyer behind Knit Not Flare, which I love. And these are the two fibers I took home with me. Hello, Princess Leia. This is pure BFL, and this is Finchy and Silk. I haven't taken them out of the wrapper yet at all. Actually, I have been taking them through my freezer, so there won't be any. There will be as little bugs as there possibly can be. I'm not saying that there's a problem with Tuulia's way of handling it. I'm just being extra cautious, because I have had some problems with my stash in the past with having bugs in them. And since even though I don't have thousands of euros worth of yarn, I have hundreds of euros worth of yarn. I don't want to waste that money. So I kind of try to be very careful with how I store my yarn and fiber. And that's why I used IKEA zip bags. But yeah, once I've gotten the white fiber spun up, then I will be diving into these. And I'm really excited about that. I don't know which one I will start with. I'm leaning towards the BFL. see. These are both about 100 grams. And yeah, that kind of segues into my acquisitions, which there have been. Of course there has been, but I went back to Lankamaailma and bought some more needles for Tuotesock in case there's any kind of, so just so I have my bases covered. So now I have Knit Pro Zing's circulars from 2mm up to, so every size up to 3mm. Then I have the 3.5 and 4mm, which I don't think I'll be using for Tuotesock. I don't think I'll be using even the 3mm needle, but just I like using them, so might as well get them. I'm not sure if I'll be using 2mm either, but just to have my bases covered. So at the same time that I went back to Lankamaailma, this little fella wanted to come home with me. So it's the Shopperwool Saberval. The colorway is Dirty Blue. I'm learning German, but I'm obviously not that good with it yet for now. I haven't even, it probably has something to do with flowers, because I think Blume means it has something to do with flowers. But I just like the colorway. This is a single ply, which I noticed when I was back home, so this won't be socks as I first thought they might be. These will probably be fingerless mitts or maybe a cowl of some sort. Could be nice. But the colorway was lovely and pastel-y and kind of sweet and gentle, so I'll have to see what I do with this. But it was so pretty. It had to come home with me, obviously. Then more yarn acquisitions from Jyväskylä. I really wanted to get, as I said in one episode, I wanted to get La Bien-Aimée in the colorway Amy Sweater. Unsurprisingly, that didn't happen. First off, I'll get into it more a little bit later when I talk about the experience as a whole, but I got something quite similar. I got hedgehog fibers. This is the Artifact colorway, and this is a very kind of, with this very similar idea that the Amy Sweater colorway was, which I was originally wanting, and I still want. There was only singles colorways, I think, from La Bien-Aimée in the shop, and I'm not that big of a fan of singles. But this is the Artifact colorway in the twist sock base, and then with this I will be using the sock yarn, which was in this one, and this is the colorway Stone. I think these will go really great together. This is a little bit more gray, but this is a kind of a brownish gray, so it will go great with this one. And what I thought about knitting with these is the Birds of a Feather shawl, which is in Linen magazine. Do I have that? No, I don't have I don't have the magazine at hand right now, but I think this will go really well together. The pattern originally says to use a fingering weight yarn with kid silk mohair, so it's really a lot thinner than a fingering weight. The effect is a lot more airy with that yarn. I'm not a fan of fluffy mohair yarns, so I took these two, and I'm not sure if the yardage is enough. I'm gonna make it work. But yeah, I think this was the other colorway which I kind of had in my hands for as an option for this type was juniper, but it had a little bit more of the speckles and colors. I like this one, and it was easier to find a kind of neutral colorway with this one than it was with the juniper. Juniper was a bit darker grey, and I didn't find kind of a matchy enough grey for it. So these will be lovely. I'm really happy with this colorway as well. I'm happy I got it. Yeah. Alrighty. Then yesterday I went to the city center. I had a gift card for Suomalainen bookstore, and I was kind of wanting to use that, and I did. But I was really lucky. I was looking around in the craft section, didn't really find anything that was kind of appealing to me until I looked at the sales section. I found two books. This is a sewing book. It basically succeed with sewing or something like that. This is a very basic kind of a book for sewists, which is good because I really haven't had any kind of training with sewing. I just kind of go and mess about, and hopefully the end result will be okay. So this is a very basic. This has kind of cutting tools. It has basic information on seam allowance and finishing and materials and edges and bias tape and buttonholes. So this is a very basic kind of a book, and quite honestly, I need this. I need to read through this, and yeah, now I have it. I'm happy about it. And then the other one is this one, which is basically crocheting letters. So let me show you. So basically, yeah, it has a little bit about the historical side of lettering or crocheting things with letters in them, and I have plans for using this, but I really like it. It has plenty of different kinds of patterns for lettering. And I have a lot of plans for these. And basically what was kind of the nicest thing about this is that with the original prices, these two books would have cost more than around 35 euros. With the sale, these were 8 euros together. 4 euros, 4 euros. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And of course I bought other things. I bought a Sharpie pen. I haven't used those before, so I wanted to try it. Then I bought some ink ampules. They go to I have that basically. They go to an inkwell pen. So I have this one, and then I have one similar to it. So it has this kind of a tip, and then basically the ampule, the ink goes here. So I bought those, and then I bought a tin. This had some small candies in it. It says rose and raspberry. I tasted them last night. Kind of strange for me. I don't like that kind of a perfumey teas, or apparently they're okay. I don't have a problem eating them, but they're really not my favorite. But basically I wanted the tin. It's really pretty. It has a pretty flower in it. So yeah, and all of those, after the gift card, I only paid €1.80. So a bargain. Yeah, those were my acquisitions. Then after I had been in the maybe I'll talk about the US Canadian Fest first, because that has to do with this. That's more closely related to what I'll go into after that. But yeah, US Canadian Fest was from Thursday. I think the first classes were on Thursday, and then the last classes were on Sunday. And then there was a marketplace with vendors on Friday and Saturday. I went to a class on Sunday. I booked the class before I realized that the marketplace wouldn't be open on Sunday. I only realized that like a few weeks ago. And I was quite gutted when I realized this, that there were so many lovely vendors whose yarn I would have liked to touch and caress and take home with me. It's kind of good that it didn't happen. I would be much poorer at the moment if I had gone to the marketplace. But that's the other main reason to go overall to the Knit Fest, is to get some lovely yarns which you wouldn't get to touch and feel and caress and take home with you on a regular basis. But there you go. The spindle class was something I've been interested in for a while now, and that Sunday was the only day they had that course, and because of my baby situation, it really wasn't an option for me to go earlier on Saturday to get to go to the marketplace and then be overnight, and then on Sunday go to the class. So that's how it went this year. I'll probably try and aim for, if I'm going for a class next year, I'll probably try to get a class that's held on Friday or Saturday, so I get to go to the marketplace. But it was fine. I had fun anyways. I got to go to Diddy anyways. I got lovely yarn anyway. So I really can't complain. I went to Jyväskylä on Saturday evening. I was there around 10 o'clock in the evening. Went to a friend's house, slept there. It was the second night in 1.5 years that I got to sleep the whole way through. Really liked that one. And then the class was from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It was a really lovely class. I got to chat a little bit with Tuulia Salmela, the teacher at the class, and then after the class I ran into I'm quite sure her name is Elli, but she has the yarn shop Silmukka here in Tampere. So and I was very surprised when I kind of first off that I dared to kind of say hello to her and say that, yeah, I know who you are, you have the yarn shop, I like your yarn shop. But then she said that, yeah, your face is kind of familiar as well. Seriously? I know I've been there a few times. I don't go there very, very often, but I think it's my own family roots that are showing that for some reason, if I'm alone in there with her, the shopkeeper, I tend to start to blab, which I don't usually do. I really, it's not a natural thing for me to talk to strangers. It's not a natural thing for me to talk to, especially large groups of people. But even one-on-one, I sometimes kind of chicken out. Even if I see something I might want to talk about. In Finland, it's really not that common. In knitting circles, I think it's more common because we have a common interest. But yeah, we really don't talk to strangers. But I have talked to her before, and she's a lovely person. So I kind of talked to her when we were walking from the class location to Tititu, which wasn't that long of a trip, but still, I overdid myself. And then while we got to the yard before, that is in front of, or it's kind of a courtyard where we go to Tititu. There was other people. They were probably having kind of a meetup or kind of a gathering of knitters, just hanging out. And at that point, I chickened out. I'm quite sure I saw Laika, who is the wife of Tui, who has the Tuin Kutoma podcast. Laika is quite often in the episodes as well. I'm quite sure I recognized her tattoo. I didn't stay around to kind of peer at her. And I didn't have the courage to open up my mouth and say, hi Laika, I know who you are and I like your podcast, the two of your and Tui's podcast. No, I didn't. I just went straight into the shop and had some yarn. I was also quite hungry. And also I had other kind of, this will sound weird, but I had other kinds of needs, so I kind of wanted to get in, buy the yarn that I wanted, and then go on my merry way alone. I would have had the time to stay and chat, but as I said, it really doesn't come naturally to me to stop and say hello and introduce myself. Particularly not introduce myself as a podcaster because I feel like no one will probably know who I am. And if I go in there with my kind of ego all polished and say, yeah, I'm the one who had the Herwoodian podcast, Herwoodian Crafter podcast, and yeah, I'm a podcaster, and yeah, you probably know who I am. And then once the reaction of, you have the what now? Who are you? Never seen it? it would be such a blow to my ego, even though I know this is a small podcast. I'm just starting out. The blow to my self-esteem would be too big, and I would never ever, for the next year, I would never talk about my podcast. I'm not sure if I would have the guts to even record. Probably would, but I would set myself up for failure. That's how I feel about it. So I felt it a wiser choice for myself, for me, to just go on my merry way. I can still make believe with myself that, yeah, people watch this. Based on views, yeah, people watch it. Yeah, I'm not sure who's watching this, except for the few people who have commented. But yeah, I felt it was better to do it that way. But yeah, that's all about all I have to say about KnitFest. It was a lovely time. It was a disappointment. It was a little bit of a disappointment with the marketplace, but now I know I will do better next year. Next year I probably won't have a baby that needs me as much. So I get to kind of maybe take a longer time. Now it was less than 24 hours that I was away from home. So next year I probably will be able to take a bit more of a time. I will be able to take more time away from home. That's enough for this. I will take a sip of my very cold coffee in my Moomin Ancestor cup, which I got for Mother's Day, which is lovely. But yeah, last thing. I have decided that I need to take a little bit of a diet when it comes to buying yarn. I thought I had been very good with buying yarn. And in a way I have, but as you might kind of gather from this episode and the previous episodes, I haven't been buying that much yarn that's already dyed, which makes me feel like I haven't bought that much yarn. However, I have been buying quite a lot of yarn from my own hand dyeing experiments. So much so that if you know the great and big blue IKEA bags, I've halfway filled up one of those with my own dyeing experiments. I'll show you. This is how much I've dyed yarn. It's getting ridiculous. So, I've decided that I need to use at least 1 kilogram of yarn before I get to buy any new yarn. With the exception of I'm aiming to start my Etsy shop around the beginning of August. And with that in mind, of course, I could open the shop and not sell anything for a while. But I feel like I want to get that going slowly. So I will only be allowed to buy yarn if I dye it to sell in the shop. So basically that yarn won't be for me to use. That will be for someone else to buy. So basically it's kind of not my yarn. I still have to think about how much I want to buy, sort of, for the opening of that shop. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna have a kind of grand launch event with the shop. But I will kind of have to make a mental decision on what type of amount I'm gonna start with. Then I'm also kind of I need to take up sewing again, so I to have some project bags in there. But yeah, I'll keep you updated as to what I'm gonna do with that. But basically, I have to knit up 1 kilogram of yarn before I get to buy any more yarn for my own uses. I think that will be okay, since I have a lot of plans. I already made a start with those Rose City Rollers socks. Those have been knit up while I decided that I need to take a break from yarn buying. And yeah, I'll keep. If you're interested, let me know. I will keep you up to date. I will kind of take it as a segment to the podcast about how I'm doing with that. And yeah, and I also had a plan on, once I've used that kilogram of yarn, I have a project in mind, and it will only be allowed to buy the yarn for that specific project. And after that, it will be the next kilogram that I have to knit up. I really want to kind of get my stash to under 5 kilograms during this year. I won't be surprised if that doesn't happen. But I really would like to do that. I would be really proud of myself and feel like I've achieved something if I get that done. By my best estimate, at the moment I probably have more than 8 kilograms of yarn, at least, maybe closer to 9 kilograms. So I have my work cut out for me. But to the sock will use up a big chunk of that 1 kilogram. Then the Edie shirt, Edie top will use 300 grams. So basically, if I do the Edie top and all of the To the Sock socks, that will almost be a kilogram. So it's doable. I have my work cut out for me, as I said, but it seems doable. Yeah. Yeah. With that, I think I'm rather well done. Yeah, and I'm closing in on an hour, so I better wrap this up. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you like this episode, I would love it if you'd subscribe. I'd like it if you hit the like button. I'd like it if you joined the Ravelry group, Herwoodian Crafter. But for now, again, thanks for your time, and until I see you in a few weeks, I hope you have a very good time crafting. Bye bye!